Okay, so take a deep breath with me for just a second. We really do spend so much of our lives trying to squeeze our wild, vibrant nature into these heavy, invisible molds, don't we? But what happens when we just stop? What happens when we finally decide to lay down the armor and just remember who we were before the world told us who we're supposed to be? Well, today in this explainer, we're diving into exactly that. Welcome to the alchemy of the inner landscape.
You know, from the literal moment we're born, society kind of hands us a map. It tells us exactly where to walk, which milestones to cross, and when. But I want you to look at your own inner landscape right now. What happens when that crisp paper map you've been given just doesn't match the wild, untamed forest of your actual soul? Well, what usually happens is we end up dragging this incredibly heavy armor through a life that looks, totally perfect on the outside, but quietly breaks our hearts on the inside. So, what's actually going on here? Basically, we're navigating by unconscious beliefs. You can think of them as these outdated coordinates that are silently steering the fragile vessel of our lives. It's like you're the captain of a ship, right? But instead of looking out at the actual water in front of you, you're just staring at a screen, following ghosts from the past. If your old map says to turn right, but there's literally a rushing, dangerous river right there in front of you, do you still turn? The crazy thing is, we do, every single day. We steer ourselves straight into exhaustion. And this blind navigation, it completely splits us in two. On one side, you have the societal illusion. This is that exhausting, stone-heavy mask of playing the perfect role. The stoic provider, the flawless parent, the model employee. We carry this massive weight because we're absolutely terrified we'll lose our worth if it slips even a little bit. But then on the other side is the authentic reality. It's like a tiny green shoot pushing up through the concrete. It's the quiet, liberating freedom of realizing that, hey, you can actually rewrite the rules of your own existence.
Just listen to this raw thought for a moment. I believed no soul chose me because I was unworthy. Wow. We all harbor some version of this shadow, don't we? It's this quiet, aching fear that if we aren't chosen or if we aren't seen as quote-unquote successful by everyone else, then we must be fundamentally broken. We look at our own beautiful, unique differences, and we tragically mistake them for being unlovable. And so we take all that pain and we turn it inward.
But here's where the healing actually begins. We have to stop banishing the shadows. When we feel shame, our very first instinct is usually to run away, right? To fix it immediately or just lock the door and pretend it's not there. But what if we just stopped fleeing? What if these painful fragments aren't actually our enemies? Actually, scratch that. What if they're just lost, frightened pieces of yourself that are absolutely desperate for a fierce, welcoming embrace? We have to learn to just open the door and say, "Come in, you belong here too."
So how do we actually do this? This is what we call the inner alchemy, and it's kind of a step-by-step process. First, you just have to feel the quiet ache. No phones, no distractions, just feel it. Second, you descend. You walk right into the cave of your own shadow, but without any weapons, just bring a light. Third, you name the unmet need. Ask yourself, what is this pain actually crying out for right now? Is it safety? Is it rest? And then finally, you offer it fierce, radical love. Because you really don't need the world's permission to hold your own hand in the dark. I love this idea that true wealth is the freedom to choose your own parameters of happiness. True liberation happens the exact moment we stop asking the rest of the world if we're growing correctly. Wealth isn't just about money in the bank or your social status. It's about sovereignty. It's the absolute freedom to honor your own organic rhythms. What actually makes you feel alive? Because once you figure that out and define it for yourself, you stop merely reacting to everything around you, and you finally start blooming. Basically, it boils down to this. You are the orange. Stop trying to be the banana. I know, it sounds completely ridiculous when you say it out loud, doesn't it? But seriously, imagine an orange spending its entire life just weeping because it isn't long, yellow, and slender. It would completely miss the magic of being vibrant, round, and full of delicious juice. Your job on this earth is absolutely not to contort yourself into someone else's shape. Your only job is to be the most authentic version of exactly what you already are.
So, to really cultivate this bloom of authenticity, we have to start by completely ceasing this endless act of comparison. Honestly, stepping out of that comparison trap is a radical act of self-love. You have to literally take off that heavy, iron armor of expectation and just let it fall away into the water. You start honoring the natural contours of your own unique shape, finally understanding that your specific differences are totally vital to the ecosystem of this world. You stop fighting the current and you just allow yourself to take root.
And you know what's amazing? When we do this, the dam just breaks. We open ourselves up to this incredible river of light. It's this infinite, healing life force, a current of love that is literally always rushing just beneath the surface of our lives. See, when we're trapped in self-rejection, we build all these heavy walls that block the water. But the very second you drop your resistance, the moment you finally accept your true form, that infinite love just rushes right in. You don't have to earn it. You literally just have to let it flow.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. If you were to put down that heavy armor today, if you finally decided to just toss out that old, outdated map, where exactly would your true nature guide you? Take a breath. Let that question kind of echo through your own inner landscape for a bit. Trust your own compass. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today, and I'll catch you next time.